Okay, are we live currently? Are we live? Looks like we are live. Awesome. Okay. Alright, so what we're gonna be doing today is actually testing out the Kailh speed copper switches. These are the switches that are pretty much the tactile version of the speed silvers from Cherry. So of course it's named the copper is kind of like how it's the same metal for the speed switches. That's what we're going to be doing today. Right now, I actually have on, I believe this is the correct one. No, I'm wrong. I'm still wrong. There you go. Right now, I do have the speed coppers already installed on the NK65 by Novel Keys, and not only that, these are already lubed. Over there, which I haven't gotten for some reason, are the unlubed version of the speed copper, so we can actually test it on the same board. Not only that, we can actually give it a shot with different inserts. So this is the stock insert for the NK65, which we have removed just so that we can test it out previously. And then I made a custom little foam insert that way, or cotton or whatever you want to call this insert. That way it can change the sound profile quite a bit. All right, let's start that. But before I do that, I'll actually turn off one of my cameras on to my right, because there is a video coming out on the channel where I'm actually talking about my entire desk setup, and I'm kind of recording me being on stream. That way you can show like, oh, by the way, I am streaming to multiple platforms, and you can see all of my streams on the left hand side, because I have a vertical monitor that is showing me all the streams, so I can see all the chats in one screen. So it's just this entire thing filled. So we'll see where that goes, and I'm just using it for B-roll anyways, so it's just sitting there until I kind of explain that a little bit. So I'll be back. I just have to hit this stop record button, because that is in 4K 24 FPS, or basically frames per second generated. That way, you know, it matches up with the rest of the footage. So there we go. All right, be right back. Oh geez, yeah, that entire thing took about 5 minutes, and the reason for that even was straight up just because my numpad, the GMMK numpad, was doing horribly, because for it has this weird ability. If I wanted to turn down the volume of, let's say, Spotify, I should be able to turn it down given the slider here. And that's what I normally do. However, that seems to have stopped working in between last stream and this stream. So I don't know what's going on with that. I've restarted the program a couple times already, and still to no avail. So no, yeah, I do not really recommend this. I'm hoping some of the other gaming companies have something better. But unfortunately, something like this, if you just want a numpad, you're not streaming or doing anything, oh, this is fine. This will work fine. If you are putting any sliders and stuff, I'm thinking maybe at one point I'm just gonna go with VIA, because apparently this is VIA compatible, and I'll see what I can do with the slider and the knob there. And hopefully that's gonna be much better than whatever glorious software, or it's Glorious Core, the software that they use. It is terribly horrible in comparison. It's feels clunky, looks clunky, it's not that great. I don't recommend it. So yeah, there is that. So avoid this. I bought it just out of the novelty of it. I don't really need a numpad because I have multiple keyboards that I can use, as you can probably see over there. But yeah, this is one of the ones I took down from that pegboard. NK65, I have the Mark 65 out with GMK Polybius and the Polybius desk mat on top of that as well. So yeah, all right, but enough for that. Let us actually get the bass sound test out of the way. Actually, let me move this mic, because I know it's closer to me, but that's mostly for the game streams. All right, and now this should be a little better, and should be able to take a good stock of the sound. Actually, I'm gonna play around a little bit with the mic placement here, because I think this was where it was last couple of streams. There you go. Alright, let me put this on. Plug this. Okay. And then this over here. This should now sound a little different because of simply just because of the pad that is available here. I do not like how this is like kind of crooked. It's better. This is the only reason I don't quite like these types of cables. I think this is fine where it's relatively thick, but the back end cable should really be much less stiff in comparison. Because if you think about it, it's not the best thing where that is pushing all of this. If this was held in a specific position, it would look really aesthetically pleasing in general. If I can hold it in that position, that'd be great. However, that's not always going to be the case, so be that as it may. All right. Ooh, that's the question. I'm gonna have to manually do this, aren't I? Does this work? No, it still doesn't work. Okay, whatever. I will mute Spotify manually, I suppose. Okay, so I can still hear it personally. Do I just pause it at this point? I'll just pause it. I believe I have the ability to do that over here. Okay. Pause. See, like, this is why I like this mouse. I have so many buttons. The regular mice, not so much. All right, let's get back into the actual typing test. All right, so again, this is the NK65. It's slightly modded. As I mentioned previously, the silicone insert on the bottom and in between the PCB and the plate have been removed. So it will sound a lot more hollow than it normally does, but it is on a steel plate, so there's no modifications of the plate. And the switches, as the title would suggest, are the Kailh Speed Coppers, tactile versions of the Cherry MX Silvers. All right, these are lubed by me last stream, was it? Yes, last stream. And we're gonna give this a go. All right, let's go with a quote first. Oh, I think this is where I'm gonna screw up a lot because I believe this is not working. Yeah, this one key is not working. All right, we're gonna have to make a mistake almost right out of the gate. What is going on? M is not working? That was working previously. Did something wrong happen in between? I know that was working previously. What is going on? Okay, so TLDR is with the NK65, it uses the Kailh hot swap sockets. And apparently they are much more fragile than I believe them to be because you can actually just insert a switch and it will pretty much make the pad where it sits flat like this and it's soldered on, just lift up. So that is not great. Looks like M has lifted because that's not going through. If I pull up via here, okay, loading. Yeah, there we go. We are on the NK65 key tester. Okay. And you can see the via on top right now. Top right-hand corner. We're going to hit M. And we're not getting anything. N is going through. This is going through. This is not. I know that much. What? M works intermittently? Maybe it's the switch itself that is not working correctly. Hold on, let me actually grab my switch puller, which should be here. I didn't clean it out, did I? Why am I so unprepared for stream? That is kind of ridiculous at that point. But yeah, I'm missing a couple of keys here. There you go. Escape. Yep, Windows popped up, so I have to click that again. Yeah, no, all the keys work except for the apostrophe and the M button, which seems to say that it works. It does not. I can confirm that much. As you can see, I'm tapping M and none of the keys are getting highlighted. So we're gonna pull that out and we're gonna see what happens. Right? Okay, let's see. And there goes one of my headphones. Okay, nope. What? I do have a switch for over here, but I don't necessarily like this one. And I swear that I pulled it out just before stream. And it is already missing. How convenient, I suppose. For myself. Don't you hate that? Of like, oh yeah, totally, I got this under control. I've done everything, and everything's there. I have it all prepared. Turns out, no, I do not have it all prepared. That was a lie made by my brain to trick me into starting the stream without having to start the stream, because apparently I'm an nincompoop. People still nincompoop. People still use the word nincompoop, right? Isn't that right? That's not an old man saying, no, isn't it? I'm hip with the kids these days, aren't I? Yeah. That's exactly what I am. All right, let's take out M. All right, that's one. And we are going to use the switch puller as well. Looks like that went through just fine. Yeah, as you can hear, not a bad sound. But I do have another speed copper here, I believe, that is supposedly working. I do not like the fact that I'm going to put this without supporting the back, but I'm going to do it this way. There we go. And still nothing out of M. Alright. And then, known working switch. That's what I'm going to use. A known working switch, which is one of the other keys. Let's take its neighboring key, just to make sure that we don't actually have a broken switch. Oh, it's a switch that's broken. Okay, let's swap that back into the right-hand side. Or not. It works fine right now. Okay, so M works fine. I do not know what happened there. But I swapped the two switches around. The left switch, which is M, and then the comma switch. And for some reason, they're working now. Go figure. I have no idea why in particular it was like that, but it was like that. So yeah, I guess. I don't know. Oh, that's how it goes though. That is how it goes. You do one change and we're like, oh yeah, it's kind of not working. I might actually bust out my other thing for it. Oh yeah, okay, let's take that out and let us move to Opera GX. There we go. All right. Oh wait, I guess you guys weren't able to see the quote. All right, let's talk about the quote a little bit before we actually get into the typing test. But as you can hear, it sounds relatively solid. It doesn't sound horrible in terms of how it sounds by itself. If I'm putting in the silicone insert, it will sound a lot more solid. It might mute the board a little. A lot of the higher pitch sounds will come back a lot more. I do like the more mid sounding, or as you can hear there, you'd hear a lot more of the higher pitched ticks if you put this in. I would venture to guess. I don't actually know because we haven't actually tested that out yet, but we can in a few here. Because this is the one that's relatively easy to replace. Because I think the screws are here, 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 and here. So there are 6 screws. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We can just pull those out and then put them back in, and we can just swap inserts. All right. Talking about the quote before we proceed. All right, you're right, Will. I can't do this proof, but you can. And when it comes to that, it's just a handful of people in the world who can tell the difference between you and me, but I'm one of them. All right. Good Will Hunting. I believe this is Will Smith before the slap, if I'm not mistaken, regarding Good Will Hunting. And it's one of those movies where, if I'm not mistaken, yeah, I don't actually know, and that's the thing, right? Looks like my cousins come back, so yeah, we're all flatmates here. But effectively, hold up, I think something's going on. All right, I'm back. I'm so sorry about that. Yeah, no, it turns out the cat was was eating some cheese bread. Oh my god. And cats aren't supposed to be eating cheese bread. There may or may not be garlic in there. And that is poisonous to cats, unfortunately. So, yeah. Okay, I was talking about Good Will Hunting. I'm not too sure what Good Will Hunting is. But yeah, no, they're talking about proof, I guess. It's just a handful of people who can tell the difference between you and me, but I'm one of them. This one I don't quite understand the quote, so I might skip this one, and we're gonna try it again. We're gonna try this keyboard again, now with the M working, and see if that works, and I'm not confused. And of course, caps lock. Okay, one more time. We'll go through the quote and see how it sounds, all right? Again, this is NK65, again, without the silicone insert. And the silicone insert in between the plate and the PCB is also been removed. And the switches inside are the Kailh speed coppers that are lubed by me last week on stream. All right, give this a go. Damn. Yeah, damn. The few words that actually use apostrophe are actually getting to me. But yeah, no, unfortunately that is the case. All right, so let's talk about how that sounded. All right, so that didn't sound too bad. Let me lower Spotify like a tad bit, because even my ears, it's a little loud on my end. On mixer. 35. I think 35 is fine, and then we can lower this here as well on my headphones. Okay. Because this is supposed to be background music. All right, let's actually look at this. Is nice. I do like this quote. I think this is from Groundhog Day. Never watched it, or I think I've never watched it. I'm probably gonna watch it and go deja vu. I remember everything, but I know it more from memes and stuff. But quote goes, I think people place too much emphasis on their careers. I wish we could all live in the mountains at a high altitude. That's where I see myself in 5 years. How about you? Okay, so yeah. I do also think that a lot of people place too much emphasis on their careers. I know Asian culture is like that. I remember when I first came to Canada and a couple times, my parents remarked at how weird everyone was when they mentioned that their parents were only farmers, and they had to work hard to get here. And then every Caucasian that they met would go, "Oh my God, your parents are farmers. They must be rich." Because over here, if you're a farmer, you get a lot of grants. Not only that, you own a huge plot of land. Therefore, it would imply that not only are you rich, you work hard, and you had to do a bunch of things to make sure that you're able to actually run the farm, right? And they are so confused because back where they come from, the Philippines, if you were a farmer, that just means you were poor and you couldn't afford to live in the big city. That's what it was. That's where the weird disconnect comes for them. It's quite different between over here and over there. Okay. This cable's acting weird right now. All right. So yeah, that's the thing. And right now, I know even right now, I did a course in aircraft maintenance. I did a course in programming, and my parents are literally like, "Oh, why don't you do the whole programming thing? Oh, why don't you do the whole IT thing? Oh, why don't you go back to aircraft maintenance?" Because it feels like a waste, especially going through schooling for two years each kind of degree that you actually go through, and at the very least. And it feels like a waste. But at the same time, even if you don't follow exactly what you're supposed to be quote unquote doing after your career, you could, or your diploma, and making a career out of that, it isn't everything it's hyped up to be. Like, for example, there are a lot of YouTubers who are seeming to quit or let go of YouTube, and a lot of people think, "Oh my God, this stuff, it's a dream job." There are streamers who are quitting this stuff. "Oh my God, it's a dream job. How could you quit a job that all you have to do is show up and talk about something, and that's it?" You don't see all the behind the scenes stuff of that, especially now that all of that has turned into businesses with huge teams behind them and whatnot. And the problem with that is it starts out as, "Oh, let me talk about this thing I love doing," and then becomes, "Oh, I've hired an employee for them to do this type of work for me. Now you have to have a meeting with that employee." Then you realize you have to talk to your personal accountant, and then your personal accountant goes to you and goes, "Hey, by the way, can you check the books for your banking statements for your specific business?" And then you have to go through the rigmarole of, validating your business every year, going through the taxes of that business. What used to be, "Oh, now let me put this funny thing up on the internet, or this thing I want to talk about on the internet," to doing a bunch of work. I was about to swear there. Doing a bunch of work that you never wanted to do in the first place, to get to the point where you can go back to talking about the thing you wanted to talk about in the first place. So that is the difference. It's just years of that has compounded because they run entire teams now, and you would think it's easier just because that is the case, but apparently not. And some people love it, some people hate it. I know Ali Abdal from YouTube actually did that as well. However, who was it? I know Ludwig is talking about streaming and stuff like that and how it's going so far. But that was a couple weeks ago, and I haven't tuned into that. I think it might be on his channel. I might take a look at that and see where it's at. But yeah, no, it becomes this it's not about having the career, it's about doing something you actually to some extent enjoy. There has to be a part that you enjoy, because if you do only the part that you can't enjoy, it becomes much harder to keep on going, and which is why you're seeing a lot of people burn out or taking a backseat role. I know Linus from Linus Media Group has gone through that issue as well, where they really just want to be that guy who plays with the tech, but they're stuck in meetings all day and they're making decisions on something pedantic like, should we cut back snacks in the snack room, or should we allocate more budget for snacks in the snack room, because there's arguments about it. It's free snacks for the employees, and yet there's this weird bureaucratic thing that has to be done to see if they should increase the budget or if they should decrease the budget or take it out entirely, because now people are arguing about who should get the snacks first. When it's all about, for that person, at least I would believe, is being able to play with some of the tech and use some of the tech, right? If you think about it, using the keyboard is completely different than when you actually have to do a build or a commission for someone else, right? I know there's Alex Sotos, who's on Twitch. Are they on other platforms? I can't tell. But yeah, it's Alex Sotos, Teha, there's Shubes. I know Clackbait is one of them. They actually, I think Clackbait doesn't do commissions. Alex Sotos is the one that does commissions, because that becomes, oh, by the way, this is a job now. You receive a keyboard for you to do work on said keyboard, and he just happens to stream it and then gets extra sustainability from that. Not only that, it's running as a business. There's, of course, overhead on that. People like that don't have insurance, and if you drop that keyboard, even if it's by accident, how are you going to replace a keyboard specifically sent by the customer unless you have relations with the company that made the keyboard in the first place? Or if they're willing to go, hey, look, I screwed up, I made a big boo-boo, what can we do? So yeah, it becomes this whole thing. Don't place an emphasis on the career, place emphasis on your enjoyability within said career, and do that. If you get a promotion that pushes you away from that, just decline it and say, hey, look, it's not about the promotion for me. If the promotion kicks me out from doing this, and this, which I enjoy, can you give me a pay raise instead? That's what you want to do. If there's more of this, and this, and something else on the on the job promotion, or the higher stature looking thing, whatever you call it, it's a weird amorphous thing that I don't quite understand, or job title, there you go, that's the name I was looking for, job title, then yeah, go for it. But if you don't have to, just don't. I burnt myself out like that as well. So all right, now that that's done, we can go into your regular tests for time. This time we're gonna do a 30-second. All right, we're gonna do a 30-second test with the NK65. Switches are all lubed, so all these switches are lubed. And again, this is NK65. It is blank, or the silicone insert, as you can see here, has been removed from both the back and in between the plate and the PCB of the NK65. All right, so these are the Kailh speed copper switches again, and let's see how this sounds. So this is going to be English, 30 seconds on the clock. Let's see how fast I can type. I'm so confused myself. I keep making so many mistakes there, unfortunately. All right, let's check this out. Looks like I was able to get a low only of 60 words per minute. Yeah, I never dropped below that. I just kept making mistakes and kept going on. Yeah. All right. But yeah, that doesn't sound too bad. As you can hear, the return is sharp. But if I was just going by that, the bottom out, it is more middle pitch. Yeah. And the escape key is a different. All right, let's pull this and do the backspace as well, or the mods. Corners. Yeah, that sounds different this corner for some reason. I don't know why there's a difference in sound on the NK65 by this left corner, because it should be the same. It's much lower pitch than the right hand side, as you can hear. The only difference would be this. So if I hold this down, maybe that might be... It's still lower pitched, regardless. If I was holding this down, it's still lower pitched. I don't quite understand why it sounds so different. It makes no sense to me. God damn. All right. Okay. Now time to change the inserts. Gonna put this in. All right. Okay. All right. Speaking of careers and things you should focus on, it's just one of those things that some people around me like are saying that, oh, they're doing this challenge. Basically, what they're doing is they are taking specific steps to make sure that they are able to have a quote-unquote fulfilling life and or, you know, just be healthy in general. And they do this specifically by making sure they exercise for 1 hour each day, and 30 minutes of that exercise time is required to be outdoors. It doesn't matter if it rains or not, and it doesn't matter if it's cold, if it's snowing, if it's pouring rain, if it's drizzling, if it's sunny out. You are working out outside for at least 30 minutes. And you can do the other 30 minutes indoors if you so wish. But damn, that is a lot. Not only that, you are required to have low intake of carbs and a higher intake of proteins. And what this does actually is it's going to promote muscle growth and some weight loss. Not only that, because proteins tend to promote the making of certain enzymes that help with being full. You are constantly more full, even if you wanted to eat more, let's say, protein, because it's a low carb diet. You can't flush it with carbs. You are kind of forced to stick with just running with mostly protein. Come on. Don't even much. There you go. There we go. So I want to bend that space bar way too much. All right, there was one more. Where's that one? Over there. Yep. There is. There it is. Between 6, 7, Y, and H. All right. Oh, 6, 7, and Y. There you go. And then I can use this. But yeah, no, it seems like a crazy workout to me. But then again, I'm also one of those few people that actually eat once a day. And by once a day, I mean once a day. I don't mean, oh, yeah, no, I ate some and then I go get snack. No, I don't get snack. Best I got is a coffee with milk. That is my only quote-unquote second time or meal of the day. And even then, I'm one of those people, it's weird enough that I'm one of those people where coffee doesn't actually affect me. The caffeine does nothing. I can literally drink caffeine, and I did that yesterday. I drank caffeine, and I just went to sleep. I drank coffee, aka, and then I just went to sleep. A lot of people, And I have a few friends straight up, don't even know why, but it could be a genes thing, but they will be buzzing for the next 12 hours at minimum. So they will not be able to sleep for at least 12 hours. And even after those 12 hours, for the remaining 6 hours of the day, they actually don't feel sleepy because they are highly, highly affected by the caffeine. Therefore, they end up not being able to go for it. Okay, oh yeah, by the way, guys, do you guys want to go with the foam or cotton insert first or the silicone insert? Because I can't fit both of them at the same time. Because if I try... I haven't tried... Did I try? I don't know. It's this way. I don't remember if I've actually tried that. But yeah, it's one of those things where I don't think it's gonna fit. Because the PCB would literally bump right up to it. And I don't think it's gonna fit. I mean, I can try regardless, but at this point, yeah, no, that's already kind of cutting into the USB. So if I push it down hard enough, I might be able to. And that will support the rest of it. Yeah, I can if I push it down hard enough, but that would pop off the board. I would not suggest it. Unless you go with something excessively thin. Yeah, unless you go with something excessively thin. That is bulging slightly. I mean, it's doable. I think the screws will hold. However, I don't think you want it to. Kind of thing. No, I would not. You know, let's go with the silicone first. I think that's the stock-ish configuration. Should sound better, quote unquote. I don't think it's gonna be that much better. I just think that it's not gonna be as bad. All right, let's go for that first. All right. Let's see. Push this. Oh, come on. Come on. How? You are magnetized. However, you still slip? Okay, start with that corner just until it starts pushing back. Then start with the other corner. Do the same effect. And as usual, never ever stop star patterning any of your screws. So whenever you screw something in, if you want it to be flat, you want to do what's called a star pattern, aka the farthest screw that you can find. So if you start from the right, which I started here, there's 6 screws, so I go to the middle is next. But effectively you go from right, left, and then right again, but we don't go all the way right, which is over here. If there was 4 screws, then it would be over there. But since there are 6 screws, you go from 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So you are basically crisscrossing. That way you know it is even, or it's being pressure has been applied evenly. Kind of helps that this one here also happens to be the farthest right hand side. Oh wait, pushing the wrong button. I'm turning the wrong way. Okay. So if you want an even sounding keyboard as much as possible, or an even keyboard, and honestly, apparently, it's one of the few causes of a lot of people having different sounding keyboards and also hollow sounding or this weird sounding kind of keyboard where it doesn't quite sound right. It's because it's not tightened well, or it's tightened in a fashion that is, what is it called? It's uneven. Therefore, you have this weird typing experience where it doesn't quite sound right when you have it, but it sounds right enough that you're okay, you just live with it. But also, one of the other things you can do for that is to not tighten the screws as much, because there have been way too many times where I've over tightened a keyboard and it sounds excessively solid. And that's what happens when you tighten certain parts of a keyboard. It can sound excessively solid because it is. You're tightening 2 parts together to the point that it feels like one cohesive unit. And sometimes that's what you want. But if that's not what you were aiming for, because sometimes you want some of that reverberation of the sound of the switch to come back at you to create the sound profile that you want, right? Especially if it matches the tone of the switch that you put in. I know some of my friends actually want that creamy sound And that tends to be... Oh, I mean, this is... Yeah, it is higher pitch. Kind of like how I expected. But, like, they want that creamy, poppy sound. Almost like polished marble is the best way I can describe it. But yeah, they want that type of sound. As you can hear there. Let me just pause the music. Yeah, just putting in the silicone insert makes the sound solid and higher pitched. And I believe it would keep the more mid pitch if I put this, but it would make it cleaner. This makes it cleaner, but also higher pitched, as you can hear there. Okay, so let's test this out. Again, we'll do the 30-second timer. Ta-da! Okay. All right. So again, this is the NK65 with the silicone insert in the bottom, but the silicone insert in between the plate and the PCB has been removed with Kailh speed copper switches, tactile versions of the speed silver switches from Kailh instead. These silver switches are from Cherry, and they are all lubed by me on a previous stream. All right. We're gonna go for English, 30 seconds on the clock. Let's see how fast we can actually type, and hopefully we'll hit the 75 words per minute that I normally would hold, but we'll see. Oh my god, that is so bad. I was so bad. I kept stuttering there. Look at this. I hit 28 words per minute for 1 point. Okay, let's go with another run there and see if I can do any better. But damn. Okay. I did hit 100 for a little bit there, and I was doing so good, and then I made a mistake after mistake after mistake after mistake. All right, one more. Again, NK65 silicone insert at the bottom has been inserted. The silicone insert in between the plate and PCB have been removed. Again, these are the Kailh speed copper switches, the tactile versions of speed silvers, okay, and they are lubed. So this is the lubed version. All right. So 30 seconds on the clock, and it will be English. Oh, I did so good at that last bit. Ooh, 120 is the highest. 126 is peak. But I did drop down to 44. Hopefully I don't drop down to 50 at one point. So I keep above 50 at every point in time. But looks like my low is 44 words per minute there. But yeah, again, it does sound a lot more high-pitched than before, especially because it had a hollow board. Even having a hollow board wasn't making it sound bad. And that's why I believe a lot, and I mean a lot of the gaming keyboard sounded really bad. It's mostly because they used the regular switches without lube. Not only that, they had a hollow inside. A hollow inside, like this was previously, wasn't bad. It was just, if the switches were lubed, it would sound that much better. All right. I don't hate this. It is not my cup of tea. I like more lower pitch switches. And if I wanted higher pitch switches, I would just go with, of course, clicky switches at that point. All right. Okay, time to go actually for a quote. Let's go with quote. English medium quotes. All right, and see. And we can talk about it. Looks like there is a apostrophe. Unfortunately, won't be able to do that apostrophe, so there will be a typo guaranteed, even if I am not going to have a technical typo because I pressed the button. But I have to remember that I can just go past that because I'm going to probably try to correct it at one point. All right, we'll see here. Again, NK65 with the silicone insert in the back. However, the silicone insert in between the plate and the PCB has been removed. And then this is running with the Kailh Speed Copper switches, which is the tactile versions of the Cherry Speed Silver switches. All right. And of course, the keycap profile is your regular Cherry OEM. That is the thing I forgot to say. Right. Again, let's go. Oh my god. All right. At least above 50. All right. Okay, up and down mistakes have been made. 4 incorrect characters. All right. Let's see what this code is by memory. All right. I must wait for the sunrise. I must think of a new life, and I mustn't give in when the dawn comes. The night will be a memory too, and a new day will begin. Burnt out ends of smoky days. All right. Okay, that sounds nice. It's what are my favorite tactiles? Cookie. Yeah, sorry there. I think you popped that out quite a bit ago. My favorite tactiles right now, weirdly enough, are the V1s of the Bad Seed tactiles, because the Bad Seed tactiles are with one of the more interesting switches I've had, and apparently it's because of a quote unquote miscalculation, because the long pole stems stop it from bottoming out after the bump. So it feels like it stops right before the bump should end. And it's one of the highly tactile switches. And it sounds great, don't get me wrong, but I found it interesting because of that, and I've made a review about it, and that is how I describe it. It feels like every time I type on it, it feels like I have the tactile bump, and I expect it to stop, but it doesn't stop where I believe it would be. Did I film mine? No, I did not get the V2s, but I did not film the V1s of the Bad Seed tactiles. Although Brian from Bad Seed Tech did mention, yeah, no, he wanted switches that would be great even if you didn't have to lube and or film them, because they would be great. But honestly, I think if filming them might help with that, because it will increase that gap. Therefore, it should make it bottom out completely, going over the hump. Yeah. So yeah, that might make sense. I don't know if you'd have to, but Brian from Bad Seed Tech did mention on one point. This is off of memory at this point, so don't actually quote me on this. But they did mention that, yeah, that's what they kind of wanted. They want a nice beginner switch that is tactile and sounds great out of the box without having to do any modification to it. So yeah, it's just one of those things where I'm going, I don't know. I think the V1s, just by how it was described, was a little better in that, or a lot more interesting. And going to the V2s and fixing that long pole stem issue turns it kind of more into a somewhat generic switch. At that point, it's just a sharper versions of the pandas, or at least the glorious pandas, which I have. I'm thinking of getting the Boba U4Ts, the half thock switches, and I'm kind of thinking of it. I'm this close to actually putting in my cart and like buying it just to have them. But yeah, it is one of those things. All right, let's actually talk about the quote there before we get a little too carried away with that. All right. Mustn't wait for the sunrise. I must think of a new life, and I mustn't give in when the dawn comes. Tonight will be a memory too, and a new day will begin. Burnt out ends of smoky days. I must wait for a sunrise. I must think of a new life. So yeah, no, it's one of those things where you have to live your life. That makes sense. And you don't have to forget that tomorrow isn't gonna come. Live your life like today is your last day, but plan for tomorrow to come anyways. Basically, is what this quote is saying. It's very expanded upon, I would believe. And tonight will be a memory too, and a new day will begin. Yeah, so you can't undo everything, but you can look at it and you can either learn from your mistakes, or it's one of those things where you're like, oh, I learned from mistakes. I can go with the new day and keep on going, and hopefully I don't make those mistakes again. All right, burnt out ends of smoky days. Yeah, no, that's literally it. You come back, you go, oh, that was so embarrassing. I screwed up so bad. What have I done? Oh my god. Oh yeah. You're welcome there, Cookie. All right. We'll do one more quote, and we're actually gonna swap after that. We're going to do the one with just the foam insert or cotton insert, polyester insert. I don't know what this is made of. I just know it's a soft material. Polyfill. So it's like thicker polyfill, so to speak. Polyester cotton blend of some sort. All right. One more quote. There you go. So unfortunately, my apostrophe key is not working on this NK65. And again, this is with the silicone insert in the back. All right, let's talk about this a little bit. Okay, this is by Daniel Keyes, Flowers of Algernon. Whatever that is. Sounds like Flowers of Algernon. Does not ring a bell, unfortunately. Flowers of Algernon. All right, let's see here. How can I make him understand that he did not create me? He makes the same mistake as the others when they look at a feeble-minded person and laugh because they don't understand there are human feelings involved. Part of me thinks this is part of like the wokest movement as of current, but how can I make him understand that he did not create me? He makes the same mistake as the others when they look at feeble-minded person and laugh because they don't understand there are human involved. Yeah, no, a lot of the things that we think of or do, there are human feelings involved. Even something that feels highly logical. I know there are people, like especially with the whole Pal World thing that is going on, where a lot of the people who really love Pokemon, just because Pokemon, this has been called Pokemon with guns, and I'm looking at this game going, okay, they have taken Pokemon assets, tore them apart, and mishmashed them together. After mishmashing them together, they then reskinned it into something else. Therefore, on a technicality, it's kind of based loosely, very, very strictly speaking, is based practically on Pokemon, with everything not really coming from not without being actual Pokemon. But because the base has been made that way, it makes sense. And he makes the same mistake as others when they look at feeble-minded person and laugh because they don't understand there are human feelings involved. Yeah, no, this is underestimation. And I honestly think hopefully Pal World becomes an entire thing and they don't actually get sued. But as long as they're really careful and they remain what is effectively a parody, aka you take two things, mash it together, and that's literally everyone's experiences. Everyone does that. Everyone actually makes those things. Anything that you make are basically a mash of all the experiences you have gone through every day. A lot of artists or even directors take from a lot of scenes. I think I watched recently Joey the Anime Man. I think there was a short that they were involved in, and they go, "Hey, have you seen this very specific pose of a guy on a bike? The bike slides, and it slides in a way that it showcases both wheels of the bikes, and then it stops, and the protagonist just is sideways looking at someone, and their foot is on the ground. It looks so cool." And it's mostly based off a 1980s anime called Akira. I think it's 1980s or 1970s, somewhere around there. Again, I'm basing this off memory. I don't actually know. But it is one of the coolest looking slides of a bike that you will ever see, because that's the slide of the bike on most things. And yeah, that seems to be copied everywhere. People do that iteration, some people do that slide, but they do it underneath like a moving vehicle. And that's the same thing with something like Palworld. How can I make him understand that he did not create me? And no, because they've decided, and that's the thing, that thing alone didn't decide everything. That thing mixed with a bunch of other things that you've seen or experienced in your life is what created this person. He makes the same mistake as the others when they look at feeble-minded person and laugh because they don't understand there are human feelings involved. That's the same with everything. That's why I do keyboard content. That's why I have these keyboard stuff. I see all of these things, and it's not because I watched one Alex Soto's video or one Teha Types video or one Glarce's video that, oh, all of a sudden, I love keyboards. Sometimes that is the case. It's a combination of things. Part of it is, let's say it's nostalgia, because as a kid, I was doing some low-level programming. I made websites back in the day when you can't just like Squarespace it up and go, let me drag this template over and ta-da! No. You get a JPEG, you want to put it over there, you can turn it into a GIF, you put it in this exact location, pixel number yada 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 on this one, page loadout is X pixels wide, and so on and so forth. And I used to type as a kid on an old keyboard, and that could have been part of it, right? So that is the difference there. All right, so that's two quotes, some other tests. Again, these are the, what's it called? Kailh speed coppers. And yeah, no, I don't like it in this very specific configuration on the NK65. It sounds a little too high pitched for me, as you can hear there. And I don't know, it's one of those things where it's not the best. I don't hate it, I don't love it, but I do think that it is one of the sound profiles that is relatively common and people do like. So if you're looking for that, if you want a solid sounding yet higher pitched, not too high pitched, it's somewhere not quite clicky, because clicky is excessively high pitched and I don't like how high pitched they are. If it's a slightly lower funk, I think that would be great. If there was a switch that sounded like funk, like it just, you know, like old game graphics kind of, that would be nostalgic. If I ever have the chance to make a switch, I'll go for some of the weird stuff, 100%. But then again, the weird stuff is the stuff that never gets sold is the problem. All right. Hold up. Hopefully I muted in time there. yeah. No, it's weird. I think I'm having the same issue as some people where my throat's getting stuck. I've been drinking a lot of water recently too, and my throat gets stuck. I just would be talking, and at one point I go, it just stop. It just gets stuck. It's as if my Adam's apple went, nope, stay there. And I go, what is going on? Is this the second coming of puberty? Is my voice going to drop? I'm hoping so. Because I don't entirely like my voice. I don't hate it. Don't get me wrong. Again, I seem to say that a lot. But it's one of those, oh, if I hear my voice, wow, that's that sounds squeakier than I hear it myself, because to my ears, I don't sound as squeaky because I can feel my chest vibrate. However, if I'm just listening to it on my ears, it sounds squeaky in comparison to what I'm referring to it as. All right. Okay. Did I have my water? Oh yeah, I do have the water bottle. Okay. Now, let us disconnect. Oh, let's actually go and test the mods as well. Backspace. I do like that though. This is the lower pitch sound that I do like. If every switch was like this, I won't hate it. Like I don't mind the ticking as much, but that sound. There we go. Shift. That always sounds different. Look, hear this. Escape. It sounds like it's being muffled by something. This not so much. Delete not so much. No idea why. It just is. All right, time to again take these off and actually swap over to this insert and see if that changes it for my personal liking. I like this better because that's one of the reasons I did that. I wanted a cleaner version of the hollow sound, and this one, it did give it to me, but I wish I had something a little thicker, or I'd put 2 layers of it instead. Oh, I don't need to remove all the switches. I just need to remove the ones with the screw in them. But yeah, I don't know. What are you guys' thoughts on that? Okay, there's that. What was I gonna talk about? I forgot. Like I was in the middle of saying something regarding something or another. All right, there we go. But yeah, I don't know. Going for the weird stuff is definitely more my jam, especially with the things. Oh, there is a Pokemon Regionals that is coming up in Vancouver. It's basically the BC Regionals. They call it the Vancouver Regionals, but it's BC. So entirety of BC, and it's sold out literally on a Wednesday. It's sold out within, what was it? Within 2 hours. You were literally not getting in to play in that tourney unless you actually signed up the moment it went up. It was ridiculous. And apparently Charlotte has become the biggest regionals ever, period. So yeah, no, it's crazy. I don't know. I might get a spectator pass just to get a spectator pass, because apparently the side events aren't that bad. Yeah. And oh, right. Keycaps, Pokemon themed keycaps. I would love some Pokemon themed keycaps. Those would be great. And I don't want the printed ones either. I want like actual Pokemon keycaps. I would take a Premier Ball looking one, honestly. White and red. Those are my 2 favorite colors. White and red. And then a verdant green. Like a really nice dark green. Not too dark that it's black, but you can definitely see some green in there. Yeah, that type of green. Kind of like one of this section of the keyboard. A little darker though. I will take a darker version of this. And I do have a keyboard, which I'm going to Milmax. I'm definitely gonna Milmax that. I'm just debating whether I want to buy extra Milmax sockets, because shipping in Canada is ridiculously expensive. I do not suggest it. The cheapest you can actually send anything over I kid you not, it's 12 bucks. 12 bucks is the cheapest you got. It is, it feels stupid. Feels ridiculous, honestly. I wish it was different, but it isn't. It's one of those things where I'm going, oh man, that sucks. That sucks so bad. It could literally be a stone's throw away, and shipping it would still cost 12 bucks. I hate it. I absolutely hate it. Not only that, if I order anything from the US, anything, and I mean anything, actually, like anything, the taxes on it are ridiculous purely because they charge a fee, and a lot of the couriers, they charge a fee as import fee, and they charge on and they tack on a lot of money on it too. It's ridiculous. I think like 50% on top of the regular taxes that you pay. And because a lot of the times the vendors already include tax in their carts, what happens is it becomes, you get double tax. You get tax US wise, and then you get tax Canadian wise. And I hate that. It's horrible. I would not suggest it. Okay. But yeah, that's why I want to do it in one go. And I am currently thinking of getting the Boba U4s, the half-top ones, because those seem interesting. And I feel like I would like it a lot more, the half-top, because it would be only the sound of the bottom out that goes through. Yeah, I mean, it's one of those. Oh, let's not do it. Do this one first. That one. This one again. Oh, star pattern. There we go. Yeah, so that's the problem that I'm finding with Canadian shipping and buying keyboard parts in Canada, where if you're buying different parts from different vendors, the shipping will be exorbitantly high. Exorbitantly high. I don't like it. It's ridiculous. So I'm trying to buy everything from one place, and RNKBD actually does have everything I want. The one thing I want to do is, just because it seems funny, is to buy root beer switches and Kailh whipped creams, just so I can make root beer switches in the bottom and then whipped creams on top to make a root beer float keyboard. I just find that hilarious, honestly. The root beer float keyboard. Woo! Why? Because it has root beer, gathered root beer switches with Kailh whipped cream on top. Ice cream. Let's go. Oh, it's higher pitch. Oh, that's sad. It's clean though. Okay, the top is lower pitch. Okay, that's going by just how it is right now. Hopefully it's fine. Okay, let's make sure that these are put on just fine. Yep. And that's the thing about this, you don't want to over tighten any of your keyboards. It's mostly to hold the board in place more than actually tighten it together. It's not a friction fit where it's supposed to mate together. It's supposed to sit in it. Alright, I mean, I still like this. This is not bad. Yeah, the Numroad is much better for me. I like it much better. It sounds a lot less solid, as you can hear here. Yep. Yeah, this is the one. This is the marbly sound I'm kind of trying to get. The poppy. So it sounds a lot more poppy than before, as you can hear. In general. Okay. And this sounds a lot more marbly. You could tell. It's like the lower it goes, the sharper the sound gets, just because of how the keyboard is tilted, and then the foam is actually being closer and closer. and it changes the characteristics a lot more than if it was just the polycarbonate insides. And then, as you can see with the silicone inside, it actually is one of those where it is slanted. So the small bit, or the tapered part here, makes it so that it actually is even. So when you are typing on it with the silicone pad, it makes it so that the sound profile, for the most part, is even from top to bottom, other than the key layout, which changes the sound. Alright, let's put this back. We're gonna test this again, and then we're gonna go back and try this, or remove this again. We're gonna have to unscrew it again, unfortunately, so that we can support the back, because what happened previously is just pushing back the switches created an issue where the pads of the Kailh hot swap sockets actually got lifted. So I had to bridge the contacts. Unfortunately, this one, I did that incorrectly, so I'm not gonna be able to do so. I'm not able to use the apostrophe, which kind of ticks me off, because apostrophe, you would think, is not a highly used key, but I use it constantly. And it's horrible. I just like, I'm going, I use it. I hate it. This is the one I want. If I can get this profile in the entire keyboard. If I can get this profile in the entire keyboard, that'd be great. See, this sounds a little too hollow. This sounds clean. It's a little higher pitched than I'd like it, without that much pop. Yeah, the return pop. Yeah, the way this sounds, the middle section. I like that a lot more. Okay, all right. Let us connect this back in and actually do a clip. Okay. Awesome, awesome. All right. There we go. 64 words per minute. Not too bad. I don't like it, but you know, I prefer 75 if I can get it. Alright, when you reach me. But yeah, no. Going by that, it sounds a lot more uneven, and a lot of that all really has to do because of how this is laid out. As you can see, even though I do like how this looks. The white inside looks quite nice in comparison to... Oh my god. I might actually have to drink some water here. I do prefer this look compared to having this on the inside, because it makes it a lot darker, matching the rest of the board. However, if this was a white silicone insert, I think that would be nicer. But maybe if I can get some of that slant back in and a thinner section, or if I cut this off, it might actually help with the board. Ooh. If I was on a solid... What? No way. Okay. Okay, this is a nice pitch, but why does this sound different here? Oh, it doesn't. What? Okay. It's a difference in material. Even just changing into a solid surface compared to a soft surface changes the sound of the keyboard so much. Don't you hate that? It's just going like, oh yeah, just change the switches, changes the sound. Puts it on a solid desk, changes. Yeah, this is the Razer Atlas, by the way, so it's made out of glass. So this is a tempered glass mouse pad, and it actually, I don't know. I wish there was either an extra large or a smaller version of this, because this is a little too large for my personal liking, mostly because it extends all the way to the right-hand side of my desk. All right. JMK Polybius here, by the way. Looks lovely, honestly. Monkey Kong, Galaga, and Polybius is right underneath, unfortunately. But yeah, that looks absolutely cool. All right. But yeah. Oh, one of the few things I did find out, where just because of the slant of this silicone bit, you can kind of use it as a wrist rest. It's not the best wrist rest, I'll tell you that much. But because of the angle, it makes sense that you can use it as a wrist rest. Yeah, I wish it was poppier, though. Okay, all right, let's talk about the quote for a little bit before I get way too distracted. All right. Okay, sometimes you never feel meaner than the moment you stop being mean. Yep, people have been there. It's kind of like you out of anger or haste, you go wham, and you go, oh, I'm so sorry. Right? It's like how turning on a light makes you realize how dark the room had gotten. And in terms of IRL, speaking about, oh, actually, when you see dark and light, because of how our eyes work, coming from a bright room where your, I forget what it's called, basically your pupils are the opposite of dilated. It's closed, or a lot more closed. That way you can actually see in a bright environment. Going into a dark environment or having the lights just shut off, you're gonna start to notice that, oh, it's much darker. But as you acclimatize to the darker room, you will start seeing more because your pupils dilate a lot more open for the light to come in. Therefore, you can actually see a lot into the room. All right. And the way you usually act, the things you would have normally done, are like these ghosts that everyone can see but pretends not to. Yeah, when you do a lot of things in haste of the whatever situation you're in, it does a lot of changes. Oh Jesus, what the heck? It makes a lot of changes. You can see I actually spilled some coffee. Luckily, I don't think I spilled any of them on the mat. Hopefully here. Yeah, no, nothing on the mat. I'm gonna get a towel. Give me one sec. Holy Jesus. Oh, my left. I was to my left. See, there you go. And that's the cool thing about a glass mouse pad. You can spill on it, and all you have to do is wipe it off with a cloth. And you're good, effectively. I still wouldn't spill things on it because there is a coating on this apparently, where it helps make things slip and slide. This sounds really loud on on the pad, unfortunately. But when I'm on this, it's relatively small, and a lot of it has to do with the underside of the mouse, where as you can see, it's a large area, and on here, it's a small area. Therefore, there's not a lot of contact making sounds. Oh, huge difference in sound. Okay, let me put this to the side a little. Where were we? And the way you usually act, the things you would have normally done, are like these ghosts that everyone can see but pretends not to. Yeah, that is one of those few things where the way you usually act and things you would have normally done are like these ghosts. That I like that wording, like these ghosts. that everyone can see but pretends not to. And if you haven't seen that anime, I forgot the name of the anime, but there was this girl basically can see ghosts, and these ghosts are terrifying. Absolutely terrifying. They look like monsters that would destroy you in an instant. Eat you up, eat you alive, keep you alive for as long as possible, torture you if they're able to. But yeah, no, they keep you know, harassing this poor girl that can see them, but for the life of her keeps on pretending that she does not whatsoever. It's an anime, and it's quite funny because of it. All right. But yeah, no, I've had a friend who's unfortunately in a quite a rough spot at the moment. You know, I don't blame them for acting the way they do currently. But, you know, I do wish they had a lot more of a leash or control over their own emotions. Where I did find that they were lashing out at everyone. Well, for example, at one point we were just talking about the current like goings on in the world. Effectively, there's a new game that came out. I think it's only been a week, and it's in beta of all things. Or yeah, it's in beta. Effectively, it's in beta, and it's selling a lot of copies. And the whole part about it is that it is very much a ripoff of Pokemon assets. However, it's not truly a ripoff, purely because they've mismatched the monster, what's it called? The monster wireframes, and the wireframes are not complete wireframes. So the wireframes, even though they're technically 1-to-1, they just kind of filled in the gaps because they realized they didn't need such a high polygon count. So they removed a lot of the framework and instead let the the game engine decide what goes in between the framework. So they have the base framework, and because how they wanted it, made it look like, oh, it looks fine. So there is that. And we were talking about Pal World, which is that quote-unquote Pokemon with guns, but effectively it's more like survival game that happens to have Pokemon-like or catch mechanics or collectathon mechanics in them. And they just freaked out. They kind of went, no, there's no more talking about that here. I demand it, basically. And yeah, no, they are lashing out, and they're taking wins wherever they can because, you know, life hit them, relatively speaking, hard. And yeah, I wish they had more control over their emotions, but I get it. It's hard, especially when your life is not doing too hot at the moment. And they might disagree with that, going, oh no, they definitely... Dude, I don't have my life in great straits either. And even just doing this takes out a lot of time. I'm supposed to have a YouTube video come out already. However, I wasn't able to finish in time right before stream, so I was just setting up stream even seconds ago. And then I decided, oh, since I didn't actually finish the video, I can actually get a little bit of video. So I have my tripod here with my, as you can see, tripod, fluid head. I put it onto the side. I arranged it. When I started stream, I actually hit the record button on that specific camera. Yeah, so I put it on that specific camera, and just to get the B-roll for that video. That video is for a desk setup, and you know, that's supposed to have been done 3 weeks ago, and I'm only just about to finish it now. So I already have the A-roll shot, and I'm not taking out on anybody. I don't go, oh, it's really, really bad. There are some people that I do complain to, but I don't, you know, lash out to them in anger. It's more like a complaint to myself. It's just I'm going through them to be able to throw it right back at me and tell me, oh yeah, you're definitely an idiot for letting that keep going for the 3 weeks that you're supposed to have done it. I've literally done this script about 7 times, deleted it every time because I just sound pretentious. I sound like I'm just showing off all the things that I have over here. As you can see, I have so many things, and this video is just for the desk. The things that you see here, I literally have, as you can see, 2 mice on the table, a switch, a keyboard, another keyboard,
Not including the ones over there or the ones behind me, because I have two behind me, and one over there on that. Like, yeah, like I get it. It looks, it feels, it really does. It feels like it's, But that was the best I could get it. That was the friendliest I could get it without it sounding like, look at me, I have all these things. But then again, I guess that's what a desk setup video would be. But it's just like, hey, by the way, these are the things that I have, and hopefully it helps someone, or inspires someone to make a better setup than me, or something that works for them instead. But you know, it is what it is, and at this point, I'm just sending it. I'm just gonna go, nope, I'm gonna record it, edit it as best I can, add some B-roll, do all the things that you would normally do for YouTube, and push it, and go. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's not the worst things, right? But it does still feel highly, highly, highly pretentious. And those are things, yeah, because this is, oh yeah, no, like, going with the quote, and these, and the way you usually act, the things you would have normally done. It doesn't feel like something I would normally do. I would talk about computers and stuff like that, but yeah, it's not something I would normally do. And are like these ghosts that everyone can see but pretends not to. So yeah, there's the quote. We're gonna take all of this apart again. Of course, take all of this apart and actually grab the unlubed version of the switches, and you will hear the difference. I'm gonna swap a few of the keys out just so that you guys get a feel of how that's supposed to sound. Alright, so these are the speed coppers, as you can see there on the bottom left corner of the screen. So these are what they look like in general. Speed coppers. They are, you can probably hear them at this point. This is right next to the mic. They don't sound that great. Yeah, these are the unlubed ones. We're gonna get the lubed ones in a second here. We'll do 90. We'll just do this row over here. That way we can have a baseline of what that sounds like on each row, and somewhere in the middle as well. But yeah, it's such a big difference actually. When I first lubed them, just testing them out on stream, like I could tell they sounded much better. Even silent switches, which technically shouldn't matter, prove that a lot of the sound of the switch is the sliding in between the housing. A lot of the sound comes from that, and the bottom out is affected by that as well. So if you're thinking, oh, you don't have to lube switches, it's fine, it's a thing. I think every switch now should come pre-lubed, just because of how different it feels. Not just feels, how different it sounds. It sounds much cleaner. And I know there are a lot of people. I know a guy, and me and my friend who are into keyboards, we were talking about keyboards, and they were complaining, like, why do you guys talk about the color of the switches? It's so useless because you put keycaps over it anyways and you never see them. I'm like, dude, we're not specifically talking about the colors of the switches. We are talking about the switches are either browns, reds, or blues. So browns are tactile, reds are linears, and the, what's it called? Blues are clickies. And we're like, oh. And he was just like, yeah, well, it doesn't matter, the color doesn't matter. I'm like, no, the color doesn't really matter. It's just our way of saying, oh, I would prefer the reds over the things, and I have these other switches, and we call them the coppers, the silvers, as, you know, as they go, because that's the naming scheme they would go with for these types of switches. And it was like, no, it's horrible. Why are you guys are so dumb. I'm like, dude, we're trying to explain to you exactly how all of this works, and why we're talking the way we do regarding these things. And like, yeah, no, even silent switches exist. And yeah, it's one of those things. If you're looking for a recommendation, I would be, oh yeah, here, if you're looking for key switches that are good for work, and gaming, I would literally go with silent switches if possible. If you can find silent switches, go for it. Use that. Do not use anything else, because that is one of the best things that you can go for. And I remember making the recommendation to one of my friends to go with the Cherry MX Browns because he liked tactile, or just get the tactile ones. But he got terribly enamored by the clicky switches on a Razer keyboard, and he bought the Razer keyboard. After a week or two of using it, he got terribly annoyed about the clicky switches when he was just typing regularly. Like, he couldn't think while he was typing. He went from, oh my god, these are so, these like tickle my brain the right way, to, oh my god, I hate these switches, in the span of a week. And he was starting to look for other keyboards, and I told him, okay, look, I have silent keyboard. If you want a silent keyboard, I can give that to you. That'd be great. Right? Okay. And yeah. Oh, and speaking of which, a lot of companies, even back in the day, went, yeah, the Browns are silent. They're not, obviously. We all know that here. But the Browns are silent. As you can hear, these are technically Cherry MX Browns, but the speed versions. Unlubed. Lubed. Unlubed. Lubed. Yeah, so that's much cleaner and lower pitched, the lubed ones. Okay. You can even hear some spring ping. Yeah. Spring ping actually is... I don't like spring ping. Spring ping kind of bothers me. Alright, let's try the upper version. Alright, lubed. Oh, it sounds similar. This sounds worse though, so it's relatively inconsistent unless you lube it. Unless I'm on the wrong one. Oh, I'm on the wrong one, that's why. No, that's consistent now. It just feels like a slap every time it returns. I don't like it. Yeah, so that sounds nicer, cleaner. Yeah, that sounds terribly scratchy, and we'll skip to the bottom. That doesn't sound too bad once you get to the bottom section. Yeah. Much cleaner. So yeah, no, if you want a cleaner, less scratchy sound, definitely lube them. And in terms of actual scratchiness, I know you guys can't feel this, you can mostly just hear it. Yeah, what's these guys? You can't really tell. This feels slightly sluggish. Yeah, it's not that they're over lubed, I believe, but because I didn't put thick amounts of lube on it. Yeah, feeling the scratchiness, if you're typing really hard, you're not gonna notice. You're not gonna notice as much. Alright, let's try that with the... Let's try the entire board. The entire board this time. So we're gonna take these off as well. So we're gonna take everything off. But we'll start with these. Because we don't want to mix them up. Because we have the lubed ones over here. Unlubed ones, we'll just go back. Alright. We're taking everything off anyways. So we'll just move this to the side. We'll turn this into a horrible wrist rest. Still, better than nothing wrist rest. This is unlubed. Unlubed. Very specifically. Trying to convince my brain to remember that fact. Alright. I still don't like this switch puller. Where did I put my my other one? Sworn. Either way. For now, let's just use it. I do not like it, and I am slowed down because I'm using a keycap puller I don't quite like. Because I have this very specific hold on my favorite one that it's terribly comfortable. So I'm much faster on it. Holy jeez. Yeah. But yeah, no, a lot of this, weirdly enough, is preference. And, you know, I don't think you'd be able to tell the lubed and unlubed one if you couldn't hear them at all. In terms of, like, you could probably tell that there's a difference between the two, but I don't think anyone would go, oh yeah, that one's much better, the other one's not as good, unless you've had a lot of experience with different types of switches. Oh, these are already lubed. Oh, these are unlubed. Hopefully. Can I break it? Oh no! Why did it feel like it broke? It didn't. Alright. Alright. You know what? Let's remove all the keys first. You know, let's take these off, the unlubed one. So we're going to designate exactly where our unlubed ones are. That way it's a little easier. But we'll take off the rest of the keycaps while we're at it. Right? Okay. But yeah, I don't know. It's one of those things where if you're going through all the trouble to lube them, it makes it quite annoying. But you can just have guys like me. There are some people who are probably local to your area. I would go to your local Reddits and or Discord channel, see if people are doing commissions for lubed switches or are available to have a switch lubed, right? So if you are into that, and or if you're just looking for an upgrade, you can have that done to your switches. It's kind of like getting an oil change for your car. Doesn't really change much on the performance, but it definitely feels like a smoother ride. Although that does feel like that's mostly just the transmission and or the suspension of the car more than anything. Okay, there we go. It's like we're mostly there. I still don't like this. This switch puller, it only grabs the corners. It doesn't actually grab most of the switch. I don't know. I don't hate the idea, but I don't love it. I don't love it. Okay. Yeah. Oh yeah, speaking of I don't hate the idea, but I don't love it. Yeah, no, that one friend really hated Palworld for some reason. And I guess it messed with his nostalgia with Pokemon. And they hope that they would get sued to the ground. But I'm sitting here going, look. It's not like Pokemon by themselves have the mechanic of capturing a very specific monster and use it as part of your team. Like, if you think about it, I think I've been watching a lot of Pirate Software shorts. Even sports, if you think about it, you have a person who tells his team to go out and do things, which is literally Pokemon. You have the trainer who goes and throws out a Pokemon or chooses a Pokemon to battle another trainer who chooses their Pokemon. Well, same thing. That's literally just sports in general. Any sport. You have a coach and you have a team. AKA the coach is the trainer and the team is Pokemon. So every game is Pokemon. Effectively. Like, oh, damn. So yeah, so Palworld, it doesn't have a monopoly, neither does Pokemon have a monopoly on the, oh, I caught a monster mechanic, or I have a monster that I can use, and spheres in general. Like, the use of a sphere. That could have been square for all anyone cared, to be honest. Like, sure, you caged a very specific pal into a very specific ball instead of a square. Yeah, because people would understand, oh, it's a square because, well, you know, it's there. So I think we're just used to throwing a ball around, like tennis ball, golf ball, basketball. Every ball sport is to throw it around in a very specific way, and in the end of the day, create a specific action to happen to score points. The basketball is literally just put it into the basket. Football is to only use your feet. Not American football. American football, I get it. It's called football because you use your feet to travel across. Honestly, the better name would have literally been field ball. Because you go across a field. Not the other way around. Like, yes, you have to use your feet. But football is literally you are only allowed to use your feet to move the ball from one end of the court or the field to the other and score only using your feet by pushing it into the goal. Football, American football on the other hand, is to bring a ball from one side of the field to the other without getting stopped. It literally feels, and I swear, it feels like that was meant to be training for the army. It really does. Like, okay, bring this very important document from one end of the country to the other. Just run. Make sure you're able to reach it. You know what I mean? Like, it feels like training specifically for, like, mil-spec operation instead. You know? Like, god damn. Alright, there we go. Okay, we've gone through all of that. Now we can remove the rest of the switches. These are all lubed. We're going to put this in that very specific container. And these are just your regular IKEA containers. They're nothing special in particular. They're from the Scadis line and IKEA. Same with that section over there, as you can see. That's how I have everything hung up. Yeah, that's the word I'm looking for. And there goes one of the switches, and hopefully it's not broken. Damn. Alright, so we did those. Right, these ones are, let me just keep that separate. Make it a lot easier for myself. That way I know exactly what I'm doing instead of not knowing anything that I am doing. There we go, lubed switches. Okay, and next bit is going to be, relatively speaking, the hard part is putting the switches back in. Because like I mentioned previously, the reason that section, this one switch was broken, wasn't actually the switch. It was actually the issue with the pads lifting off of the PCB. And apparently that's why some people hate Kailh hot swap sockets, is literally because of that issue where it does lift off. So unfortunately, I wouldn't go for it. I don't hate it, again, but I didn't know that that was the case. And now that I know that I'm supposed to support it when I insert a switch, now I'm going, oh, that is not what I expected it to be at all whatsoever. That's a little awkward, unfortunately. I don't know how to feel about that now that I've experienced it firsthand, how bad it can be, because I have lifted 3 different pads off of one keyboard, a singular keyboard. This one NK65 has gone through multiple key swaps or switch swaps. Yeah, I've swapped the switches. Oh my god, I've swapped the switches so much. Wow, that is a sentence I've never thought I'd ever say. Okay, and not only that, when I first got the NK65, oh right, let me just do what I said I was gonna do. I'm gonna grab this. I'm gonna unscrew the board, and then as I put the switches in, I'm gonna hold the Kailh hot swap sockets with my finger just to make sure that I am not, what's it called? No, that I am not going to lift any more pads up. So unfortunately, I don't know how many insertions and removals they're rated for. I think I can search that up. I'll probably search it up in a bit here. But effectively, I didn't think I'd hit 3 in one go. Literally one night, I got 3 removed, and I decided, oh yeah, next week I am going to fix it. And that week came and went. I quote-unquote fixed it, except for one key, which I messed up. And I kept trying to figure out, like, why do I keep messing up? And it's because I keep connecting it to the wrong pad. And it's like, brain, work with me here. What you doing? All right. Okay, so we're gonna remove that, and we're gonna make sure that we are actually holding in the switches or the Kailh hot swap sockets before they actually break apart. Unfortunately, I can't just leave it be as I push them in. And luckily enough, unlike something like Milmax switches, and here's my quote-unquote fix for it, as you can see, this now works. Ooh, does look like it does get pressed. That is A, the letter A got the pressed. Ooh. Oh, I did not know I was pressing against certain bits. That is not fun. Where? Oh, I see. Okay. Oh dear. I was not aware. Alright, so you can see it does press against the polycarbonate on the bottom. But this is my temporary fix. This is literally just solder wire. If these were any thicker, or if this didn't have the ability to get to be malleable, then this would have done way worse. But that's my temporary fix until I get a proper wire. But yeah, no, that's a low priority for me at this point, honestly, because it's technically fixed. But if I can get actual wires, so I'm just waiting for something in my house to break, which rarely does, because we, for the most part, take care of our stuff. If the cat chews on some sort of electronic that I can tear apart and add in or take whatever wires they used for the internals, hopefully if they have enough wires and long enough wires, I can just grab those and swap them over, because wires are wires. Basically all you really need is 2 points to be able to contact each other, and that's it. It's nothing in specific. It's just these two things, make sure they're contacting, and that is it. There's nothing crazy about it. The hard part is trying to figure it out. Like, for example, I wasn't entirely aware of how this would go. This is the Z button, right? I broke the Z button just by pushing it down, and look where it goes. It comes from the top all the way to the bottom. You wouldn't think that, because normally it's from here to the right hand side, which is over here, or vice versa, from here to the left, because it would connect all the way there. But no, it went down. And not only that, if you can see the rest of the traces, it looks like it only goes right. There's no indication, even underneath this wiring, or this, what's it called, a solder wire, there is no indication that going from here to there is happening whatsoever. It's inside the PCB. So if you think like, oh, they just flex it and whatnot, sometimes the layer underneath is going a different direction compared to what you can see on top. I'm like, oh my god, I didn't even know that. That's crazy. Jesus. So yeah, no, but it will be relatively close. So if you are confused as to where you want to connect those two wires, it should be one of the adjacent switches regardless, because there's no point in going all the way to the end unless you are actually at the end. Right? Those are the only things. If you get one of the keys that are actually on the edge of the board, that might happen, but it is, relatively speaking, unlikely. Going by relativistic experience. But I don't know. Because, yeah, no, that's never happened to me yet, but also it's never happened to me where, oh, see, this one, just pushing down on it, I could feel some pressure coming off of the Kailh hot swap socket. So that might have been one of those that would have gone if I wasn't supporting it after a while. So if as long as I keep pressing or supporting the back of the Kailh hot swap socket, it should all go through. Not only that, I wouldn't do that on stuff like Milmax. I don't try to hold Milmax sockets on, because technically they are soldered on and that holds it fine. Not only that, it has a lip that goes over the PCB that if you're pushing it through, you'll break the PCB first. So that's the thing. Like, it doesn't fall through, and you're not exactly worried, or I'm not exactly worried about the board effectively getting broken for that reason. So it would be nice to have the one of the other boards because I don't want to break the cherry board that I have. Not the cherry. I don't want to break my Mark 65 board, which is on the bed right now, but I don't want to break my Mark 65 board because that's my main keyboard. I do like the Mark 65, and I really do wish that split spacebar layout is actually a standard. But damn, it's just one of those few things where you go, oh wow, a split spacebar keyboard. Oh, that's weird. You have 3 spacebars. No, you only have 2. And that middle button is for you to change layers. It's great. It's easily accessible. Don't worry about it too much. Okay, here's the problem section. I have to press down and make sure I don't. Yeah, because you can definitely feel it. I don't hate it. I just don't love it. Alright. Man, having to open up your board every time you swap switches just to make sure the PCB or the hot top socket is being held is kind of a pain, to be honest. Ooh, I could feel that. Ooh, Jesus. Felt like the pad is about to burst out the seams. That is not great. I do not like that at all. I am. So yeah, this will be the unlubed version. Hopefully this is fine. Oh, a little bit of a spill. Hopefully we can get a good sound comparison out of it. Here's one of the pieces that actually got cut off. Yeah. Unfortunately, way too many switches got removed or the pad lifted off, and it's just, I didn't expect it to happen to one board. I expected it to happen to one of the pads eventually on another keyboard, but I guess I just used this way too much or swapped switches way too much. Yeah. And it's kind of similar to a lot of quote-unquote audiophile complaints regarding the MMC-X connector on some earphones, where they go, oh, the insertion rate is not that great. Well, yeah, what are you, a crazy audiophile person that swaps the cables on a constant basis? Yeah, even at the 30 cycle removal, as long as you... Yeah, it's 30 cycles of insertion and removal, 30 cycles. That's all it has. I'm sitting here going, well, in general, unless it breaks, you shouldn't be swapping them out. So I don't know why you would swap it out as if you're trying on different headphones. And that makes sense for certain audiophiles, and that's why. But there's no point in a company going for the minority that really care about it sometimes, because it's something that the minority can technically fix by buying a new pair of headphones. And for the majority, they go, oh wow, I can fix my headphones, which is the opposite problem, right? And you go, oh. One side is just pissed, the other one's just like happy that they can actually do that. Yeah. There we go. And yeah, no, I don't know of anyone else. I don't know. I might ask one of my friends who has one of the keyboards I gave them, whether they want me to do their keyboard and either make it hot swap and or just have the switches lubed. That way they are more silent. And probably calibrate their keyboard, because I think their keyboard felt off, so to speak. It didn't feel that great. And it had this weird ticking noise on it, and I might be able to help them with that. So if they're down for it, I don't entirely mind. Yeah. Also helps out the stream channel here, because I do want to do a bunch of keyboard stuff instead of no keyboard stuff, which is kind of I don't know. It is what it is. But yeah, no. A lot of the problems with a lot of the old gaming keyboards happen to be because of the switches weren't lubed. Now, that's literally it. If they lubed their switches, it would sound 10 times better. And if they did the Tempest mod, aka putting tape underneath their PCB, it would sound a lot more solid. But they didn't do that now, did they? So all of the old keyboards, gaming keyboards, sounded horrendous back in the day. Oh my god. I have to finish this, and after I finish this, I should be able to finish that video and upload it. Holy, on the main channel too. Because this, I've been doing it relatively consistently, and yeah, it's one of those things. I get to talk to people that I normally wouldn't. I get to socialize, so to speak. But looks like it tends to get cut short, or I have so many issues that it's hilarious more than anything. Okay, we are so close. Okay, so this is going to be the test without the inserts, so no inserts at all whatsoever. Yeah, you can already tell that doesn't sound quite as right. Okay. Oh my god. Yeah, see, like this is coffee, guys. Look, it's coffee, right? And here I am yawning because I'm somewhat tired. All right. Okay, I'm going to use the washroom real quick, right? And I'll be back to put on the keycaps. All right. Okay, be right back. Okay. Alright, so let's put back all of the keycaps, and we shall see how it sounds when it was unlubed. Which is like, oh yeah, finally! Finally. We get to test it out. Let's try these 3 right here. Ooh, these are tighter. Oh my god, that is... Ooh, remember I told you the problem was switches that were not lubed, which is why a gaming keyboard sounded the way it does back in the day? Okay, that doesn't... To be fair, a lot of the sound comes from the spacebar and the 2 stabilizers next to it. Okay, that sounds not only hollow, but terribly scratchy. It's not even that much scratchier than a lubed one. Like, it's noticeable side by side, but if I just told you that was already lubed, like, you would question it if you couldn't hear the switch. Yeah, that sounds like an old gaming keyboard. God damn. There we go. Oh. Alright. Yeah, no, that definitely goes to show you can solve the internals of the keyboard if the keyboard company doesn't actually lube those pre-built switches. It might just sound, relatively speaking, bad or incoherent, I guess would be one way to put it. It's lower pitched, but it sounds scratchy is the problem. And I don't like the return sound as much, is the problem. I don't like the sound of how it might return. Okay. And no insert thing. Yeah. Not liking it so far. Don't hate it that much. I like it better than some of the other switches. For example, the Zeal switches sound technically better than these. But it also sounds like there is a lot of case wobble on these Zeals in comparison. Okay, does anyone know what pipe's used for? I know it's used for encoding applications, but I've never found a very specific reason to use it. And again, I feel like it would come up way more often for people who are actually trained for it. Or uses it in the proper way, or codes the proper way, so to speak. Alright. Almost done. That was relatively fast there. Not even 5 minutes. Oh man. There we go. Preliminary test. Yeah, other than being a lot scratchier. Okay. Alright, that's what it's gonna be. Alright. Let's actually do a quote first. Alright. Alright, let's see how this goes. Alright. Oh. Ha! You know, it would be very useful to plug in said keyboard before going in and typing out a quote. Right? Wouldn't it be? Wouldn't it be? Okay. Alright. Again, this is now the NK65 with speed copper switches. Both inserts have been removed. The insert is normally silicone, so even the insert in between the plate and the PCB has removed. So there is no inserts in the NK65 as of current. And these are unlubed Kailh speed copper switches. Going to be testing them right now on a quote. All right. What is going on? Whoa. Whoa, 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 whoa. That is... I am not typing at all. Okay. Oh. I is not working. What? Whoa. Oh, this is bad. Oh my god. Huh? Whoa. Entire sections. The entire section does not work. What just happened there? I and P, M. Oh, that works now. What? No way. Okay. I know this doesn't work, but what happened here? I'm pretty sure I had that supported and all that. And still nothing. Let's try unknown working. We know these work. Oh my god, the NK65. Jeez. The NK65. That works. Did I get defective switches? Oh, that's some BS right there. That works. These are unlubed. I didn't even open them. Oh my god. How is that even possible? Okay. Is it actually the switches? Alright, let's go with colon. Number 9. Yeah, those all work. Is it the keyboard? Number 2. Yeah. Thank you, rollover is a thing. M. We had problems with M earlier, right? Wow. That is incredible. How does that even happen? Alright, let's take this out. We'll grab a different switch. And hopefully we don't break the pad. But, you know, it is what it is. At this point. No, it just doesn't go through. Like, going through the pad at one point. What? Seating it properly makes it what? No way, that doesn't make any sense. How? What? That makes no sense. Because if I am just going, well, what? You can see it. Look. I push it a certain way and it's fine. You can see the 2 actually getting depressed. Not like sad or anything, but it gets quote unquote depressed. But if I push it all the way down, do anything. That's how the switch is sitting. Oh my god. Alright, let's just take them all out. Let's take all of these out. Oh, okay, that is gnarly. We know these switches work. Hopefully stay working. That switch works just fine. Take that back out. Grab one of these other switches. And it's there again. Nope. It doesn't work. How does that work? I don't understand. What is going on? It did the same thing. Is it not? Is it just the tolerances? No way. That's fine if it's just floating there, but the moment I push it in, it doesn't work. What is going on? I actually don't know. This makes no sense whatsoever. How? What? I don't understand. I do not understand anything regarding this whatsoever. It makes no actual sense to me on how this makes any sense. Backspace is not working either. Oh no, I hear it. Wait. Key tester. Backspace works. Sometimes. What is going on? Do I have to push the board down? I think, yeah, I would have to push the board, but it's being held over here. It shouldn't be the case. Held over here. Maybe I didn't depress the, No, it's not going through. I'm gonna go get the same issue. Put it down. Yeah, at a certain angle, it's fine. But outside of that angle, it's broken. Oh, that makes no sense. Do I just bend this a little? Do I bend it? Bend it. Will that make it better? Yeah, I have to bend it. Oh my god. Everything else works fine though. Oh, I is not working. Enter is not working. Oh my god. Four is not working quite right. I'm hitting it, it doesn't always go. Okay, that's fine. JKL is fine. That's fine. Enter is not fine for some reason. Okay, so I just have to bend the switches slightly so that it would contact the metal section, I guess? I think that's why? Yeah! That looks like that's the case. Oh my god. Alright. I and P is not working either now for some reason. I and P. M works just fine now, so we can just put that back. We're gonna take out E, bend it a little bit. Slight bend. It doesn't even have to be that much of a bend, just enough. That way it will contact the pins in the hot swap socket. Oh jeez. Multiple. Yeah, I'm making a video on hot swap sockets. Jeez, I didn't even know I had to look. Okay, so basically here's the regular pins. As you can see, I have to bend it just slightly. Just like that. That's it. That's all I have to do on that one section and a little bit on the other. Just so that it contacts. And then if I put it in, it still doesn't work. I actually have to bend the thicker one too, not just the top, because I wanted to experiment to see if that needed any. So look, this is the slight bend that I put on it. That's it, the slightest bend. It's not even that much of a bend. So slight. It's all you have to do. And I'm still not getting it. I'm pretty sure the pad hasn't been removed on it. So if I grab one of my things, yeah, the pad is not getting pushed down or anything. I have to bend it a little more. Because if I bend it too much, it might not fit in the socket properly, is the problem. No, it's still not going for it. I is still not going for it. Alright, let's try that. We got these two to work. Oh, jeez. Oh, dear. As a tech enthusiast that changes these, relatively speaking, frequently, that is not a good thing. Okay, I is there. 9 doesn't want to go through. But I, now that it's bent, it goes through. Same with these. So I'm just gonna use this, press it lightly, like just butting up against it. As you can see there, I'm just butting up against the pin. Right? You can barely see it, and then turning it just a little, slightly. So, there you go. So now it's slanted. I'm gonna do the exact same thing on the thicker section. So you butt it up against a puller. Tilt it just slightly into the third knot there. So onto the third. So now they're all pointing towards this side or the LED side. That way it has a chance of contact. And the reason for that is when you put in the switch right here, right? So if you, when you put in the switch, you tend to put it in and then push it in this way. So it is slanted a little this way anyways. So it makes it easier. So I wouldn't go too, oh, there we go. I wouldn't go too far with it. So it would be a slight bit slanted and you would push it in until it becomes flat. Right? Okay. So hopefully, okay, not too much. I know I said what I said, but like, I don't mean like almost 45 degrees slanted. And 2 now works just fine. Right? How about plus? Plus not so much. 9 not so much either. I didn't think this would be an issue. Guys, so weird. I'm gonna just do that, and then we'll try this again. Again, I'm bending switches here effectively. Completely bending them just to get them to sit properly. Now they contact. Oh my god. That is such a pain. Holy, okay. Oh my god. Okay. We'll put 9 back because we've quote unquote solved that one. M is fine. Z is fine. Oh my god. We're just finding issue over issue over issue at this point. Oh, that went through so easily too. Alright. Butt up against it and bend. Bend, yep. Bend. You don't have to bend too hard either, because if you bend way too much, you might end up pushing the Kailh hot swap socket and encounter the other issue that I encountered, which is a lifting pad or a lifted pad, where the pad completely gets ripped off of its socket. Jesus. Alright. M is fine. The period. I do need the period to do quotes. Oh, that sucks so much. Oh, that sucks so much. I hate that. Oh, Lee. Okay. Bend that again. Bend the other one as well. Oh, little bit. And again, the bend is, relatively speaking, slight. You don't have to bend it so much. Alright? So, looking at it here. There you go. See, that's it. That's all the bend you need. The slightest bend. You don't even have to go too far. Oh, although I do think I went too far with the thicker one. And now, let's see. Now it works just fine. Oh my god. But earlier it wasn't working. Jesus. Alright, with the keycap it works. I know this is fine. And now... Okay, plus works as well. It's fine now. The enter key is not fine. And the number 2 is fine. Alright, now we're gonna do the enter key, and that should be the last of it for now. Holy, who would have expected that? Alright. Slight bend. Again, the slightest bend. You don't even have to go that hard on the bend. Doesn't matter how you bend it. I would not recommend using your bare fingers for it, if at all possible. If you have the tools, such as the switch puller, do not, I repeat, do not, okay, use your bare hands. Because I've done it before where I slipped, and what happened was, because it is a sharp edge, don't get it wrong, these things are sharp edges, and I have actually poked myself to the point that it went about more than halfway through into my skin. So do not use your bare hands, okay? Whatever you do, do not. Please. If you have the tools, just use them. Okay. And the reason this is broken because on the back side, the pad is incorrectly connected. Because I did a quick fix on it and I screwed up, basically. Alright, anyways, let's do this real quick. Come on, let me just go and redo that. Okay. Alright, repeat test. Alright. Jeez. Alright, so we're gonna do the same one. Alright, we're gonna do the same one, and we're gonna see if it sounds any better. Or worse. It's gonna sound worse, so I could expect that to begin with. But let's see how it actually sounds. Alright. Okay, there we go. All right. Yeah, so as I mentioned, also, yeah, it looks like some of the keys are kind of sticky, and that is part of the issue with these sockets and how it works with these switches. For some reason, these work, and I think I know why. As you will probably see here, I'm gonna get a close-up. All right, we're gonna get 2 of them, right? Okay. You'll probably see here. On this side, you'll see 2 silver sections. There you go. 2 silver sections, and 1 is copper. So you can see this one is actually copper, right? But this one, it is not copper. The reason why, it actually has solder on it. And that makes it thicker. That way it contacts
the pins on the inside of the hot swap socket. However, the copper one is terribly thin. Let's see, terribly thin. This one, turn it sideways, still thin, but it's not as thin as it is without it. And not only that, this is slightly bent. So yeah, that is part of the issue. The lubed ones actually come from an old keyboard, the Ducky 1-2 Mini. Yeah, the Ducky 1-2 Mini, where I mil-maxed it. So, unfortunately, it looks like there are more problems with Kailh hot swap switches or hot swap PCPs than I originally thought. And it also could be that putting these specific switches in, because they were previously soldered, caused that issue as well. So yeah, if you are putting in only clean switches in it to begin with, that's where you're not going to have any issues. But once you had previously soldered switches, you might actually get issues because you will actually push the pads out. Wow. You'll actually push the pads out. Okay, so unfortunately, that is an issue. Okay, I'm gonna probably make a video on that. All right, let's actually talk about this. This is a forgot to remove. Okay, but that's fine. Looks like 50 words per minute, multiple mistakes, highest burst raw of 100 words per minute. Okay, so what does it say here? Compendium of Chronicles. Oh, jeez. All right, if one must drink, then let one drink thrice a month, for more is bad. If one gets drunk twice a month, one is better. If one gets... Oh, it is better. If one gets drunk once a month, that is better still. And if one doesn't drink at all, that is the best of all. I could never understand why people like getting drunk. I guess it's kind of the ability to let go of your thinking at one point and stop worrying about stuff, I suppose. But I don't know the specifics. I remember doing some research on it, and apparently there is some correlation that some people say that drinking can help if you are specifically drinking red wine. However, by the looks of it, it feels like, and this is me just paraphrasing here, where it feels like the alcohol in the wine cancels out the pros of parts of how the wine is created. I think leptins was the thing that they used, where red wine had a lot of, but because the alcohol is, technically speaking, horrible for your body, then having some leptins doesn't matter. I don't know what leptins does. I just vaguely remember something regarding leptins. Or antioxidants, maybe. But even then, just because of how bad alcohol is. And I don't understand why, where people go, alcohol, that's fine. And I don't know what for me the whole buzz thing that people get out of alcohol, I don't think I've actually reached that stage where it makes sense for me at all. And it's one of those things that a lot of people cause horribly disruptive behaviors, or have horribly disruptive behaviors when they get drunk. And that's a horrible thing. And I'm sitting here going, some people call it liquid courage, because without any thought in the world, you just kind of do things. It's dangerous. Literally, it's more dangerous than smoking. And people are more scared of smoking for some reason. I don't get it. And I think it's a lot to do because it's socially acceptable, because everyone else drinks this, what is effectively poisonous material, because everyone else does. You know what I mean? It's not great. But anyways, yeah, if one must drink. If you're drinking anything, drink water. Drink juices.
it's just as bad for you sometimes if you drink a lot of juice, because that's a lot of sugar in this one drink. All right. But yeah, that's pretty much it for me there. Don't drink if you can help it at all. As you can see, it's the best of all. And honestly, there's so many other drinks out there. Coffee, caffeine can be bad for you, but that depends on whether it can be bad for you. You can get dependent on it, especially if you do get a buzz. Here's the thing: I don't get a buzz out of coffee. I like the flavor of coffee. And who was it? Jim7, aka Kraz. James Hoffman actually made a video regarding coffee that is decaffeinated. If you are into that, if you like the taste of coffee, you can get decaf, and there are apparently decaf coffees that taste good. And the TLDR, and again, you probably want to watch the video from James Hoffman regarding coffee, where apparently good tasting decaf coffee has to be done relatively fresh, just because the way the caffeine is removed from the coffee bean, it creates a bean that is, relatively speaking, a lot more porous, making it harder for it to roast properly. In other words, it has to roast much slower and lower at lower temperatures than you would normally roast a regular batch of coffee that has caffeine in it, because it's not as porous. So just being porous alone changes how you're supposed to cook it. Second of all, because it's so porous, it becomes easier to stale faster. In other words, the air gets into all of those gaps and takes out a lot of the flavors, just because it gets stale quicker. So if it's pre-ground, cooked in like to begin with, it's cooked improperly or roasted improperly, already pre-ground by the time you get to the store, and then sold to you, it tastes stale as all hell. So it's basically a stale, undercooked and overcooked, because the outside shell is cooked but the inside is not, simply because of how porous it is, that it basically comes out as a really bad tasting coffee. So it's half cooked and half raw, while also being stale because it has been pre-ground. So if you want really good decaf, you want it as fresh as possible and cooked specifically to be it's roasted specifically as a decaf coffee, instead of roasted as a regular coffee that happens to be decaf. Different way. And apparently the only way you can actually find out where you can get a good cup of decaf coffee is through Reddit, and trying to find local groups that are searching for these things and being able to do that. So it's really nice to be able to find decaf. So you want freshly ground, roasted specifically to be decaf. It's hard. It's really hard. And yeah, coffee is one of those addicting substances, because not just the caffeine, because some people like the effect. It has zero effect on me. I literally can drink so much coffee. Normally I would drink at least 2 cups of coffee a day. 2 cups of coffee a day. And that's 236 ml, as in cups, not a big mug like this. This is about 2 cups by itself. Like 1 cup is, strictly speaking, if you're looking at my monitor, is around here. That's 1 cup. That's another cup. So this is effectively 2 cups. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, if I cover this up, looks like a bottle. This is a 16 ounce. Do I have it? Yes, a 16 ounce, 273 ml. So yes, it is 2 technical cups, and this is a small one. This is the size of my hand. As you can see, it's roughly the size of my hand. So yes, this is 2 cups, effectively speaking, in terms of coffee. So you can constantly drink 2 cups of coffee. I think the upper limit is, before people in consensus say don't drink more than that, is, I believe, 5, before effects can start to get adverse. But apparently you would basically hit the upper limit of drinking liquid faster than you can overdose off of coffee. So don't drink too much coffee, and I don't rely on it specifically for the caffeine intake. I literally just like the taste. Same thing with dark chocolate. I really like the taste of dark chocolate compared to coffee. But carbs in itself is also one of those addicting substances. I am, of course, that type of Asian, and I really should label this. This is not labeled. This is literally the same switches. This is very hard to to tell which is which if I forget. Okay. I should get a piece of paper that says this. Okay. But yeah, like I do like rice. Literally, there are Filipinos straight up that get spaghetti and rice as a main dish. I'm going sitting here going, that's carbs with carbs. That's two different types of carbs with one type of sauce. What are you doing? Like, I don't like it myself. I find it ridiculous, but you know, it is what it is. All right, but yes, it is one of those. I am going to go one more quote. Actually, we're a little pressed on time. I realize it's been 2 hours and 30 minutes. And normally I would cut it out right before the 3-hour mark, but let's take this all out. Not take it out. We're gonna try the inserts, and this time we're gonna actually go with the foam insert first, and then we're gonna end with the silicone insert remaining. All right. Okay. Let's do that. All right. So it's gonna be this section here. All right. But yeah. Way too many times. Way too many times. Speaking of food, recently I have found this really good restaurant, and here's the thing. Ever since, and I will complain about it to anyone. Ever since I came to Canada, all the food has been relatively speaking bland unless you go to an Asian place. And I don't understand how most Caucasian people do it. And it's not to be racist or anything. It's just when you go to these places, 90% of the time it's Caucasian and old people. And that's it. And I'm sitting here going, and also just to prove a point, it's called White Spot. You know what I mean? It's literally called White Spot, one of these places where the food is terribly bland, excessively so, that at one point I was laughing so hard. I went to what's it called? Buffalo Wings. It's called Buffalo Wings, not the actual buffalo wing sauce. It's called Buffalo/Wings. And back in the Middle East, I went to a Buffalo Wings and they tasted good. So I went, oh, this is gonna be fine. I'm just gonna go get some Buffalo Wings. They're gonna be good. I was wrong. Guess what? On the level 2 of spice, level 2, spicy. All right, this is listed under spicy at level 2. Okay, salt and lemon pepper. Salt and lemon pepper. What? That is spicy to you people? What in the hell? I even remember because I did high school here as well, and I chose cooking as one of my what they call electives. And I also did CAF as well, and baking. The teacher, and I believe it's all the same teacher, the teacher literally said, when I put in coarse pepper, so the recipe called for fine ground pepper, and the teacher caught me putting coarse pepper in it. No, that happenstance. Like, I didn't read the recipe properly at the time, and I put in coarse ground pepper, and they went, "Oh my God, you're supposed to put fine ground pepper." And they looked at it and went, it's okay. I guess it works. You can still get a kick out of it." I'm like, a kick? This is a basic spice. This is like, you kind of just need to have it. This is so that it has flavor. This is not spicy. But yeah. And of course, some people actually got horribly surprised when they found out that KFC chicken had a crap ton, and I mean a crap ton, of white pepper in it. Yeah. So be that as it may. Holy crap. Come on. There we go. Yeah. It's one of those things where, like, yeah, the spicier of the peppers that you could ever put in there was the one they had the most of in terms of herbs and spices. Is that right? That doesn't look right. That looks right. But yeah, it was like crazy. Like, how did everyone, like, how did anyone get away with that? As long, I think a lot of it is mental too. If you don't believe you can take the spice, your brain automatically goes, oh my god, it's so hot. Meanwhile, if you never mentioned that it's spicy, you probably could take it. At one point, I went to a Korean tofu place, hot tofu soup place. Yes, a Korean tofu soup place with a huge group of my friends, and all of the orders got mixed around because they only literally had tofu soup and 4 to 5 levels of spice. So what happened was, I'm the only one who ordered the spiciest one, period. The spiciest one. And let's go with this one. And what happened was, they swapped my order with one of my friends that ordered the not so spicy one. They went with hot. No, they went with mild. I went with extra spicy. And after going with the mild, they just went, "Ooh, did my spice tolerance get low? This is relatively spicy. Like, it still tastes good, but man, I guess I haven't eaten spicy food in a while." And me being the guy I am, went, "Let me taste that real quick." And I tasted mine just to compare. And went, okay, that's spicy, but not as spicy as I thought it would be. Going with super hot as the label, right? Because label says super hot, therefore I expected it to be super hot. And wasn't what I expected. And I went and ate his, and I'm like, yo, dude, this is super hot. This is the spicy one, because that's spicier than mine. So you got my order, and I got yours. I got the mild. And so yeah, a lot of it has to do with the perception of whether you can take it or not. Ooh. Just putting foam makes it sound almost like I lubed it when it was hollow. Other than the scratchiness. Okay. Alright. So many ways to get the same sound signature out of a keyboard. Oh, don't you hate that? Okay. Put this all back. And then we can finally test this specific configuration. As much as I just want to test all of it, and I kind of want to just... Yeah, this sounds, just going by it, it sounds like it got lubed. There's some scratchiness to it, but a lot of the scratchiness is being absorbed, the sound of the scratchiness is being absorbed by the polycarb, not the polycarb, by the foam and or cotton that's underneath. The cotton. Yeah, the cotton filling. The cotton filling underneath absorbs the sound of the scratch a lot more. So it doesn't sound as scratchy. But it's still, there's scratchy sound. It doesn't sound as scratchy as earlier. It feels scratchy as before. There's no change in that, obviously, compared to the lube ones. But is what it is. All right, now we're gonna give this another shot. We'll do another quote. Test. All right. This quote. Duck soup. All right, so here's the card. He may look like an idiot and talk like an idiot, but don't let that fool you. He really is an idiot. Oh, me in a nutshell, unfortunately. But yes, all right. He may look like an idiot and talk like an idiot, but don't let that fool you. And honestly, there are some people. Recently, I've come to the realization that a lot of people. Okay, this is a general rule of thumb. Don't hate me, but a lot of people who compliment other people when they first meet them, like, "Oh my God, that's such a nice jacket you have there." They tend to be the biggest biggest red flags for me, especially if they are, what is it called? Trying to push that you're awesome, you're cool, you're nice, oh how awesome you are and stuff. Like basically they shower you with praises off the get-go. Like they've literally just met you and that's almost the first thing that they've done, just shower you with praises. That is a big red flag for me as a person who is manipulative and will probably almost within, let's say, about 30 days start asking for favors and or money. And if they do that, you kind of know that like you probably shouldn't, because they've probably done this to a lot of other people, and a lot of other people have given them money and or done favors for them, but they would never help you back. They would not return the favor, basically speaking. And yeah, no, I've unfortunately had that. I've met people with an ego, and they don't ever compliment anybody. They don't actually they do kind of, but that's only to get a favor. Like they'll compliment you, okay, like what do you want? That's literally it. Those are narcissistic, egotistical people. Yeah. And I noticed that it's a rule of thumb. Some people do this joke. Some people they don't really realize that, and they aren't quite in tune with how they are as a person, and they don't realize they're being narcissistic to a point that it is detrimental to themselves. But you can't have, for example, streamers, YouTubers, politicians, all these types of people have to have just an inkling, at minimum, an inkling of ego that I can do this. An inkling of narcissism to go, oh, I think my take is worth pursuing at one point. So there is a little bit of narcissism and egotistical mania, I guess, in almost every content creator. If you've ever been a content creator at any given point in time, absolutely, you are probably like, yeah, proud of yourself. That's a little bit of ego and narcissism talking to you and pushing you to be able to do those things. It's a tool. It is not a horrible thing, because a lot of people go with positive, negative things regarding this: sociopathy, psychopathy, autism, all those things. Everyone goes, oh, that's so bad, how do you fix that? Well, it's less something to fix and more of a specific trait. And if you can use that as a tool to improve your own life, then that's great. Because some people on the autism spectrum have what is called hyperfixation. And hyperfixation is they are so dedicated to this one task that they will be able to finish that task much faster than other people that don't have hyperfixation on it. On the opposite side, there is basically it's like ADHD, like that ADHD. This is I forgot the specifics, where they get distracted easily, the complete absolute opposite end of the spectrum. And yeah, no, that some people do that. They literally just go, oh, what in the hell? And I do have a friend who literally would pick up one task, and if you ask him a question and he realizes that they have to do another task, completely drops the original task they were on, even though it could be something as dangerous as cooking, like leaving the stove on. Like, whoa, you are going to burn water at this point. Yeah. And they potentially could have, honestly. Not that I've ever seen them do that, but it's just one of those things where you go, oh, but those people are terribly good at certain games and or tasks that require small, really quick to do tasks and task switching. Because a lot of things about task switching is very hard, because when you get into a flow state, task switching is hard, because normally you would start one task and then follow it up with something similar of the same task. In other words, you have a flow state. However, guys like that get into that flow state mostly with what's it called, are able to get into that flow state even if they are swapping tasks. So if you use that to your advantage, you have a person who you could have do this, do that, do this, do that, and then they can still maintain composure. So that's the type of people they would be, right? So if you can use that to your advantage and kind of figure out what works best for you or for themselves in those kinds of realms, then yeah, it's great. However, of course, it comes with the downside of, yeah, you might kind of get screwed over because you completely forget that you are on task, and then you realize you're supposed to be on task, and then you realize that, oh, what time is it again? And then you go, oh, I should hurry up. What was I doing? So it comes with its downsides, and that's everyone in general. You have your strengths and weaknesses, and that's the strengths and weaknesses of those types of quote-unquote issues that some people quote-unquote need to fix. But honestly, if you know yourself, and I kind of do know myself, and I'm trying to work on it, but obviously I'm not doing a very good job at it, where I'm one of the opposite. I can forget a task, go do things, and I'm in between hyperfixate and task switching, like constant task switching where I can completely forget. I hyperfixate for just long enough, and then once I let go of that hyperfixation, I immediately task swap, right? So it becomes not that great. Not that great. All right, we're swapping now to the silicone insert. Okay. All right. Wow, where's the screws? But yeah, no, it's like one of those things where I'm going, ugh. What to do? What to do? You do. All right. Oh. Hyperfixation. Sad. Honestly, I think it'd be faster if I did it manually, but no. This is the lazy way of doing it, unfortunately. Using the motorized screwdriver. These are like tech items that most tech people should have, especially if they are into like tinkering with electronics and whatnot. Just because of the sheer amount of items that you would actually have, it is one of those nicer things to have. Especially when you're doing it constantly. I've done that. I've done this enough times that it makes sense to buy one. I've done Game Boy swap or shell swaps. I fixed DSs in the past. Man, so many things. I've torn apart DSs in the past because I didn't know how to fix them. Too many things. All right, so this now. Okay, this now is going to be, yeah, sharper. It fixes some of that issue. It still sounds scratchy, but it's much more solid. It is a solid sounding keyboard. I don't hate it. I don't hate it, but it's not the best, so to speak. All right, now let us do another test. Ooh. Ta-da. All right. I don't know what quote this is, but it sounds dangerous. All right. I know exactly where I want to be, but Looks like that is a biography. Stalin, new biography of a dictator. Yeah, no, I kind of expected that. Oh, that's why I screwed up. I actually held that shift for way too long. And looks like T is having issues. So I'm going to change that so that I can have a better understanding. But yeah, no, it sounds a little too sharp for my liking personally. In terms of how it sounds cleaner than it normally would be as an unlubed switch, and that's mostly because of the body of the actual keyboard more than anything. Let me double check with VIA here. Yeah, now it looks like it's doing just fine. All right. I can close that off. All right. But yeah, yeah, no, I'm probably gonna do a different quote, but here, believe that it's time to revolt and seize power had come. Again, he encountered opposition. Okay, so that's the quote. Lenin believed the time to revolt and seize power had come. Again, he encountered opposition within the party to his call of armed insurrection. Most prominently, Kamenev and Zinoviev. Most of the other party members, party leaders, including Stalin, supported him. Yeah, so this is maybe insurrection, because I don't really know this part of history all too well. Most other parties, including, supported him. Yeah, no, you just have to know which people are in your camp, out of your camp, and whatnot. It's just one of those few things you kind of just have to know, I suppose. Unfortunately, what else? Like, I don't know. That's pretty much it. Revolve, seize power, come. Yeah, no, you can believe all you want. If other people don't believe as well, it's gonna be very hard to actually pull it off. So you need a lot of people in your camp to actually be able to pull things off. For example, if your parents aren't in your camp, like for example, my parents are never in my camp. I remember the ridiculous thing of I would be playing music in the car, and I'm like, oh yeah, let's play some music in the car. Like, okay, it's your turn to have the aux cable, so to speak. And so I play a couple of music, and one of my parents actually goes, "Oh, this music's so bad. Like, why do you play this music? It's so weird." I'm like, okay, like it's just music that I like, and so I go, okay, cool. Let's just play it just play the radio. Play the radio. Okay, literally 5-10 minutes pass, and the same song that I played earlier plays on the radio. And guess what? That same parent literally goes, "Wow, this song is so good." It's the same song out of the same speakers in the same car. The only difference was whether I was playing it or the radio was playing it. I was so ticked. I was so ticked. You give me crap for my taste in music only to say this song that I played 5, maybe 10 minutes ago is a really good song after you just dissed it 5-10 minutes ago? Like, what? Jesus. Talk about double standards. But yes, like, you need people in your camp, and you can't just do whatever you want purely. You still have to give up a little bit of yourself so that people are okay giving up a little bit of themselves for you as well. So don't take it the wrong way, but no one is an island. That's literally it. But anyways, that is it for the NK65 with the troubling amount of issues that I'm having, and I believe it has mostly to do with the Kailh hot swap sockets. It might just be this PCB, might be just this implementation, but to have it happen on the same board, 3 different switches having the same issue, the pad lifting off of the actual PCB, and then when I replace these previously used with solder switches and put them into a Kailh hot swap board and replacing those switches with clean, never before used, never before soldered switches causing issues in typing. You can see sometimes I would triple tap T to even get it. I had to bend the switch to get a proper contact. So yeah, those are issues that we are having with specifically this keyboard. Hopefully it's not the same with the rest of the hot swap. We've done sound tests where you get the regular insert, we get the cotton polyfill insert, and no insert as well. I prefer personally the polyfill insert more than the more solid sounding silicone insert. I was looking for the word for silicone, thinking that like, yeah, the silicone insert. No, it's not called silicone. No, it's silicone. Yeah, silicone insert. And yeah, so next week, I don't actually know what I'm gonna be doing, but I could, depending on if I decide. If in the next few days I actually decide on buying Milmax switches, or Milmax little bits, we are going to be Milmaxing the Ducky Mecha SF, which is that green board right there, as you can see at the edge of the screen. So there, so that's that green board that looks like a custom keyboard that's actually pre-built, and then we'll see what we go from there. We might actually do other switch tests or try to fill in or modify with the Ducky Mecha, the Ducky SF Mini, or the Ducky Mini. 1-2 Mini, specifically speaking, the Ducky 1-2 Mini, which I have modified as Milmax, and trying to add stuff like the Tempest mod on it, or Force Break mod, or basically trying to see if we can mod the keyboard to sound better than it actually does, because it still kind of sounds like an actual gaming keyboard, which it is, so that's not the worst thing in the world. It's just, let's see if we can actually make it better. What is that? I dropped something. I hope I didn't. Okay, anyways, we'll see what happens next week, and I will see you guys next time. Again, it's going to be roughly around 7:30 Pacific Standard Time every Monday. And then we'll do that. And of course, watch out for that video I am going to drop in the next 1 or 2 days. And hopefully it is going to be today, but we'll see where we go from here. Well, we'll see if it's today. There's a high likelihood it'll be sometime tonight, tomorrow at 6 to 7 a.m., depending on what the analytics kind of tell me, where it's most likely to take off. So we'll see how it goes from there. Okay. Okay. Oh, make sure to follow and all that stuff on all the social media platforms that you can see. I have everything linked in bio. All right. And as usual, I will see you next time. Have a nice one. Bye.